You're listening to 1100 KFNX Independence
Welcome to the Locksmith Show, where we're live and in color in the studio. We have sad news today. If you happen to listen to another station, today is apparently going to be the last broadcast of Garrison Keeler at noon with his Prairie Home companion. So, I don't know, maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's not, but I always think it's sad whenever anything ends like that.
Oh.
So we have also...
Was unaware of that.
Yeah, I heard it up in Flagstaff while I was driving around this week.
Gotcha.
This week also, I got a phone call from a gentleman who wanted me to come and program keys into his Acura. He had lost his key, so he went through the traditional American process of, let me run off to the junkyard, get all the components that I can get, and make my car into a fruit salad of a variety of components. And I had to tell him, hey, I'm not sure what I can do to help you, because once you start mismatching components from other cars or replacing antenna rings or what have you, you have to have some certain dealer equipment in order to let them talk to one another. It sure would have been really nice if you would have just called me and said, hey, come out and make me a key and program it into the car, because we could have done that in short order.
Well, that would have been a lot easier than replacing the antenna ring.
And all the other components, lock cylinder, because apparently somehow he managed to get a lock cylinder with a key from the junkyard, and he was just going to slap everything together and have it work, only to learn that, it's not quite that simple the way it was in the 50s and 60s and 70s.
Part of the 80s.
A little bit.
Yeah. Well, I don't disagree. I think you make a phone call to a locksmith if you've lost your keys first and see what they say.
Or at least ask people that know what they're talking about before you just start replacing every component on the car to try to play mix and match.
Well, that, and your most locksmiths, you're anywhere from what year was the car? Do you remember? It's an Acura?
It was an Acura RL, I think.
RL. So, was it older one or newer one?
It was one that I don't believe would have had to been flashed. I think it was newer than flashing.
Newer than flash. So early 2000s, mid 2000s. Yeah. Most guys are going to be probably anywhere from 185 up to $250 to make a key for that.
Yeah,
and
something like that.
You probably spent closer to $1,000 now just to get a key back for your car.
Well, and the problem was, by the time he called me, everybody that I was trying to call, nobody, either the people I called didn't have the right equipment, or Friday afternoon, Todd was done for the weekend.
I think Todd went and did that one.
Really?
I think so. Because there's some pictures of a car being flashed, and that was an Acura.
Okay.
So it was on Facebook that I saw this morning. I'll show you at the break, and we can...
Maybe it was the lady that called with the other car that had the broken skim module and broken ignition on the Chrysler.
No, it was an Acura.
Maybe it was when I was calling Todd about the broken skim module. And
gotcha.
That Todd said, no, I'm done for the weekend.
Gotcha. Well, he might have had some time to run over and do that, guys.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm easily confused. So,
well, you never know.
Yeah.
But I think his car got done well.
Well, the only question is, how much did that mess cost him?
That's
a whole other program.
That's what I was saying. Upwards probably of $1,000 when he's all said and done, with what he spent on buying the new module and the ignition. How much time he spent putting it all in, or had somebody else do it, and then to have all of your stuff reflashed. I would almost say, what happened to the rest of the old stuff? And let's put that back in and make a key real quick, and you'd be all done.
Well, he did ask me about that, and I said, hey, you know what? Once you start, if you plugged in the new module, that could have set off flags in the computer that I can't unset. And so at that point, I didn't even want to have a part of it.
Yeah.
Because, I just don't have all that equipment that some of the big boys have.
I'm looking into some other ones.
Yeah. We should go in on a D-Max together and be able to do all the Chryslers.
I don't think we need one of those after talking to a couple guys. I was dead set on it last week, and this week I'm not.
Oh, what are you thinking of?
I'm thinking of an Altel, which will do most of that as well.
Well, the only thing I know about Altel is it's a phone company.
Yeah. But it's a company that I kind of just saw this morning that I'm interested in.
All right.
So, changed my ideas. It's rather expensive. Might be able to go in on that. But
so the call-in numbers are 602-277-5369 if anybody wants to call with any locker key questions or problems, or talk about any scammer activities that you may have been victimized by. And we'd love to hear from you.
Too many times.
Yeah.
That I get a phone call during the week that it's happened. We did get done the job that you were out of town. We had a guy that got found on Thumbtack last week. And you know who Thumbtack is?
Yeah.
So, and I think me and one other guy in town are the only ones that I have found on Thumbtack of the locksmiths that have all of our stuff filled out. Like every inch of it, every form that you hate is filled out with 10 paragraphs, 20 paragraphs, 30 pictures, I think, up there, all over this Thumbtack website. Well, there's other people found one in Scottsdale off there. The gentleman went over there, tried to install a Mortise body lock. I got to show you the pictures. There was a Mortise body lock on there, and it was a entry function. Needed to be storeroom function, so the door remained locked at all times. He decided to go get a LSDA grade 2 lever and didn't even buy the plate that you could use to try to transfer the door over to a lever for the Mortise body. Broke the best, it was a best Mortise body, broke out the front of it to use it to hold in the door latch, but didn't screw it on, just used, I'll show you some pictures of it, just kind of held it there to hold it in place so that it wouldn't move. Oh, Andrew's sending some pictures over to Charlie right now. And proceeded to drill a hole in, I thought it went all the way through the door. Well, when we went in to replace the lock, he drilled a 2 1/8 inch hole on one side and then drilled about an 1.25 inch hole on the other side to let the lever piece go all the way through. It was one of the worst jobs I'd ever seen done, and they paid this guy $300 to do that.
I think these need to go up on the website.
Oh, they will.
But
we got to get the rest of it done, and I've still got other pictures on my phone as well.
The worst part of this whole thing that you're telling me is that if you have an entry function, that's usually going to have a 2 hubs on the inside and a swivel spindle.
Mm-hmm.
If they would have just shot a hole through the case into the hub and screwed or pinned the outside hub so the outside lever wouldn't turn, that's about a $2 in components fix to apparently a much larger problem.
To disable the lock. Yeah. So I had to go out and get another. They wanted to put exactly what was in the door back in. So they told me that they wanted the same style lock, the same brand, the same everything. So I went out and got them a best. The lock body and the outside trim and the inside trim was $900 for the entire. Hello. How can we help you today?
There? Just not if you can hear me. You'd think that Mark from A-Marks would know that we're on the air right now, wouldn't you?
Hey, Mark, if you're listening, call the studio line, not the phone line. But, yeah, so this guy tried to install that lock out there. I had to go out there and put a door wrap around it and cut a bunch of stuff out on the lock to basically rebuild the door to receive the other lock again. Came out real nice. I'll show you the finished pictures. And then the next day they had me come out and install a real deadbolt on the door too, because they didn't want to they wanted 2 bolts on it. So.
Well, that kind of reminds me of the gas station over at where I get gas all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that doesn't want to pay $900 for 2 overhead closers because he thinks that's like way too much for a door that gets 1 million operations a month. And they took out a lovely mortise lock from the restroom and installed a grade 3 deadbolt and a grade 3 knob lock, and now it's just hokey. And we'll be back right after this, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Locksmith Show. Hopefully I can get some of these people to realize we're on the air, so don't make my phone ring. Or maybe I can just get my phone turned off.
That's what I was thinking. At least vibrate. Because then we'd hear... But, and mine's not even on that right now, so look at me. I'm turning mine off, too.
Silent is on. Okay.
I did mute the computer, though, so I didn't have weird, crazy things playing.
Oh, come on.
My computer likes to do that
We
sometimes.
want to hear weird, crazy things playing. I mean, isn't that why we're here?
Well, at least we don't have your other song queued up right now. That's going to take 10 seconds to go away.
Yeah, we don't have anything queued up right now because I didn't even bring one with me.
I know.
So.
Well, we got to go pick up your truck after the show, so that'll be good for you.
That's an idea.
Yes.
Hopefully I can
get your ambulance finished.
not run the sirens on the way back across town and get into trouble.
Yeah. Do you have to take that out legally?
I'm not going to, really.
As long as you don't use it, I don't think.
Yeah, I think as long as it doesn't ever get turned on, I think it's just fine.
Gotcha. I know that guy who drives around in a fire truck. Have you seen that? The kid thing. He bought an old fire truck.
Warren?
Was it Warren? It's a guy on the
I
east
know
side.
Warren bought a fire truck.
Oh, I didn't know Warren bought a fire truck. That's cool. I have to call him and talk to him. I haven't talked to him for years. No, there was another guy. He did kids' birthday parties. And I was talking to him about it one time. It's actually pretty cool. It's out on the east side. The guy's in Gilbert somewhere.
Does he squirt water at them with it, or?
He lets them all squirt water with it. It's got the thing that kind of spins on the top that has, it's an old truck.
Big nozzle thing, yeah.
Mm-hmm. They got it all shined up, redid all the chrome on it.
God, you'd have to be careful about how much pressure you put behind that thing, because you could injure people with that.
Yeah. No, it doesn't knock the kids over. It's barely coming out. So, and he's got a crew of people there that are manning the whole thing.
Yeah, put a regulator on it or something. Yeah.
Oh, it's got all sorts of stuff on the side that are aftermarket stuff for the power of the water that's coming out of it. So it's pretty cool, though. The kids love it. They climb all over the top of it. The ladder's gone off of it. But they get to climb through it, go in there. The siren still works on it. Pulls up like right in the middle of the road in front of your house. Blocks the whole road up. So
I would imagine they'd have to get permits for that.
It's in a residential neighborhood. Most of the time, all the other kids in the neighborhood come out because there's a big old fire truck out there. And most of the time, you're going to be all invited to come. So, and they all dress up like firemen. So it's pretty cool. Kids love it.
And do they have little fireman suits for all the kids?
They have hats and jackets for them to wear. And it's
amazing.
Rather inexpensive too for the whole day. So, well, not a whole day, a couple hours. But
you're not sharing his name, phone number, and rates on the air.
It just dawned on me when we got back in the air talking about yours, because his siren was still on, and he said that he didn't take it out just due to the fact of what he does, and he's never been said anything. That's why I was asking. So, just kind of came to me. I'd have to look. His card's in my van, actually.
I've made a couple of phone calls, and the Arizona Department of Public Safety thinks I should put either yellow or white lights on where all the red ones are. California says no white to the rear, so I know I can't do white on the back. I did replace the whole light bar so far with yellow, and one of the lenses on the front is yellow now, but
yeah,
that's all I could find so far in the used department.
Oh, just keep finding them. You'll get them.
Yeah. Brand new, they're very expensive. They're like $45 or something per lens.
Yeah, that is expensive.
Yeah. But there's only one company in the nation that makes them, so and it's a big company.
Yeah, and they can charge what they want.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and they don't sell direct, so the distributors have to make profits, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, kind of like we do. We need to make profits too.
Well, everybody needs to make a profit on something if you're doing it. Now, do you have to go charge 1,000% profit on something? I think there's things you can do that with, but I don't think you do that on a car opening.
This week we're having a special, ladies and gentlemen. Car openings are only $289.
Yeah. And every person that I talked to about that, and I said that too, most of them say that they would have probably done the same thing. They would have called another locksmith out. So, or the other one that was the next cheapest one. So, if it's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true.
Yeah,
So
that whole blue sky thing.
Yes. It's not always like that. And people do need to make money. You have to understand that. And if they got a $14 an hour or a $14 service call, that's fine. They can have a $14 service call. But make sure that they're not going to charge you $60 in labor, which is still a decent price, because then you're at an average price, $75 for the whole car job. That's fine. Get it. But don't charge $269, $369. Don't come over and drill out a regular pin and tumbler quickset lock on a house because you can't pick the lock.
Or because you don't want to try to pick it and you've been indoctrinated to start drilling.
If you haven't tried for at least 10 to 15 minutes to pick that lock, you don't pull the drill out.
Yeah,
period.
Clearly.
So, and you shouldn't be drilling them. There's very rarely that you ever drill a quickset lock unless it's broken. So,
malfunction, plug spinning round and round. Yeah, let's drill the mounting screws.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Or one other thing I've done to those is shoot a hole off to the side into the plug and used a puller to suck the plug out, break the clip off on the back, and then, sometimes you can salvage the lock. But,
yeah. In rare instances.
Yeah. But, oftentimes, it's a $25 lock. Let's replace it.
Exactly. It'll work better again anyway. They're made so cheaply now compared to what they used to be made like. Cylinders aren't even full cylinders anymore.
Well, I think I know why they have the cutout places in between the pinwheels. Do you have a guess?
Well, my first thought was because they were saving material. But the second thought was that they're trying to keep stuff from debris being able to move freely in the lock.
I think it's simpler than that.
What is it?
I think they're trying to cut down on shipping weight.
Never thought of it that way.
Yeah, because the less bulk they have to ship, the less per pound they have to spend for shipping weight. So the more material they cut out, the less shipping weight they have, and the cheaper it becomes to ship the stuff around the world.
Yeah. Thanks, number one lock manufacturer in the world. Depleting your locks to make them cheaper. I do love Mr. Locksmith, though, on YouTube. He just destroys them. Absolutely destroys Quickset.
I might have to watch some of that.
And has no shame. I love it. So, and he also just did this review. I want to order one of these locks and take a look at it myself. They said it's right. Just because it's a smart lock doesn't mean it's a good lock. So they've got this new Bluetooth lock that came out by...
I had a guy at a hardware store asking me about that, a manager at the hardware store asking me about that, and I didn't know a thing about what to tell him other than I'd want to make sure that they had all the security issues worked out with the communication technology first.
Well, he brought a very good point up in the video, too. He talked about how they don't go to the security professionals to ask them about these locks. They go to the tech professionals and ask these tech guys about these locks. So in this video, Mr. Locksmith has a tech writer with him who is one of these guys who writes all about all these locks. And he actually wrote an article about that one. So we invited him on his YouTube channel to discuss why he wrote things about that lock. And he says, right off the basis, I felt the lock. It feels heavy. It works right. It worked just with the Bluetooth as it's supposed to. I write it up as a what I found. It worked great. Did what it was supposed to do. Did what it said. It's kind of heavy. Feels like a good lock. Well, as locksmiths, our first job is to figure out how to defeat that lock in the quickest, easiest, less expensive way possible.
And we figured out what?
It's a $130 lock that our padlock shims work on just fine.
From the front?
From the front, the padlock shims.
The funny winged ones.
The funny winged ones, or you can go pick out your favorite soda can and cut it apart and make your own in about 10 seconds, and you're in on a $130 lock. Just because it can open with your phone doesn't mean the manual techniques that all of us use that are all over YouTube is going to protect your stuff that you lock this lock up with. So
this is a padlock, or
it's a padlock. It's a $130
Okay.
padlock that allows you to be able to use your phone, your iPad, anything to unlock the lock.
Or your hammer.
Yeah, well, that was we have lots of ways that you take a rubber hammer and pop most padlocks open with if they're not done right. So just goes to show you, don't spend $130 because you think it's going to be easier to open the lock. It's not any safer out there. Spend $130 on a high security lock.
Like an American 700 or something.
Yeah, that or even a multi-lock.
There you go.
So
We'll be back in just a moment. Call-in numbers are still 602-277-KFNX 5369, and we'll talk to you in a minute. Bye-bye. Welcome back to the Locksmith Show. Neither of the Andrews are paying any attention, and so I have not a clue about what I should be ranting and raving about right at the moment. So, if anybody has any questions about locks or keys or the criminals invading our industry, you're cordially invited to call in at 602-277-KFNX. And now the Andrews are back.
how's it going, Charlie?
Round in circles.
Round in circles.
So, what are we chatting about for the next segment? Not having done any show prep and having a mouthful of muffin.
Yeah, there we go. Well, the other Andrew has a funny little story about a locksmith in Canada as well.
Yeah, it looks like a story out of Ottawa here. Locksmith Paul Charley returns to Ryder Street to remember his swallowed van. Looks like a sinkhole opened up there, and basically he was out on a job doing work. Luckily was not in the van. He was inside the building fixing the lock or whatever it may be in there, and the van was swallowed into the street. So he returned back with the media to kind of remember it and say how it's now a part of the history of the street.
It was a nice van. I was so attached to it. I'm so sad it's gone now.
Hopefully he had great insurance. Maybe he can get himself a new van.
Yeah, it looks like he worked for somebody else.
He was just a worker?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Definitely he's still, he had dedication to the job and to the company that he was working with. But
100%, I'm sure he did. But I love my van. If my van fell into a sinkhole, I'd be devastated.
yeah, that's what the guy said. He's like, it sucks that I lost the equipment. It sucks that I lost the van. I'm glad that the employee's all right, but I still need to get another van.
Well, I don't know why they wouldn't have brought like a crane with a magnet on it to drop the magnet down and pull that thing back up out of the ground.
Sure.
Like they would.
I'm sure they pulled it back out, but
No. He says it's underneath the ground, like it's now a part of the memory of the street, is what he says.
they filled it in.
Yeah,
I would go get my stuff out of it. I'm sorry.
my van is somewhere
I need a
down there, and the
ladder and a
memories are
cutting
always
torch,
going to be
please.
there.
Exactly. Give me a grinder. I'll cut a hole in the top of that thing. We'll go back in it.
Yeah, a ladder and a cutting torch, and I'm going to fetch some stuff out real quick.
worth of equipment and another $10,000 of stock.
He says, when
I
I'll
need that
pass
back.
by, I'll remember this is my van.
Well.
Yeah, I can't imagine just
Glad
leaving
that
it
nobody
there.
fell in there. Yeah, well, here in Arizona, we get sinkholes all the time. Down in Gilbert, seems like one happens on one of those major roads. Greenfield, Higley, Power, Val
Why is
Vista.
that happening? Is that fracking or? Do we
My
have
thought
any idea?
here's my thought on this. Phoenix, at the time when we were booming here, we were growing considerably. Instead of going up, we went out. Basically, our square miles of our city is one of the largest square miles in the world of people living. And I think they just didn't do a good enough job of packing that ground when they were building those roads. Because it doesn't seem like the sinkholes, either that or the water, they didn't move the water enough, and we've got a lot of water running underground, eating away at the sand and the dirt because they're big. The last one that happened on Greenfield, they're still not. The road, I think, just opened. So down south there, I dropped my kids off. My kids live out that way, and I dropped them off at their mom's house. And that sinkhole, there's a dude who drove right into the sinkhole. Didn't even realize it was there one night. Happened overnight one night. There's a Ford truck that drove right into the middle of it.
There's one that went down maybe 6 inches or something out behind my trailer and in between my trailer and the next one. And, it doesn't look dangerous, but, if it all of a sudden expanded, I could get sucked into it.
That would not be fun at all.
Yeah, not fun at all. But, you got to go one way or another. So,
Once you fall into a sinkhole?
well, you'd rather get hit in the back of the head by a bullet.
No, that would not be good.
Once upon a time, I wrote my brother an email about all the locksmith scammer stuff and my intent to file a lawsuit and all that. My brother wrote back, he said, if everything you're saying is true, you're single-handedly taking on organized crime, and you may end up hurt or dead. And I sent back to him the only thing I could think up at the time, which was, in this life, I've got to die once. It might as well be for something good.
Well, I understand that. There's been a lot of people that have been telling me I need to watch my back over that video that I did with that other guy. And I say I'm going to keep exposing this stuff because it needs to end. And if we find another one, we'll do it again. And I hope other locksmiths find that and the consumer. Pull out your phone. You're the one that's getting ripped off.
I was commenting to somebody that was visiting me the other day about people making videos with their cell phones. And when you see these things on the news, it's obvious that the person is holding their phone long way up. Are the majority of the people running around with cell phones in this nation too stupid to realize, gee, if I'm going to take a video, it really should, we really should turn the phone sideways so we get the whole wide shot?
Well, I don't know if they're idiots, but I think there's a lot of people out there that don't understand how technology works. We keep getting it faster and faster and faster. And a lot of those ones that are filming, I think, are kids. There's a lot of adults that film, but you see those ones kind of flipped the other way because I think adults are used to seeing cameras wide angled. We have all these big TVs that we keep buying. Kids don't care. They love the little screen. That's all they've seen.
Yeah, I understand. But then from my perspective, my buddy Billy let me borrow his son and his son's girlfriend. And when you're my age, those 18 to 20 somethings are the kids that you're talking about.
Well, I'm
Don't
talking.
call me a kid. Why not?
Well,
You are.
some of them. All right, my son's 16, so yeah, he's a kid to me. But I'm only 35. I'm a kid to you.
Well, you have a little more maturity than the kids.
I do have a little more. What are you talking about? You don't know me outside of what I do professionally. I'm such a goofball.
Well, I know that.
I've never grown up, Charlie. I own a recording studio. I'm still that guy who plays with his music toys all day long. I'm a locksmith too, but I've never grown up at all.
Well, in a lot of ways, neither have I.
So I love my toys, and I will continue playing with them till the day I die.
I just wish mine would get here.
We'll go pick it up after the show so you have yours.
No.
Oh.
A couple 3 weeks ago, I went on eBay and I ordered a new in the dash toy that's going to have a backup camera. It's going to have a DVD player. It's going to do GPS, and it's got extra outputs coming out the back, so we could do that rear television screen thing that you've been talking about for a while. I might just actually beat you to that.
Oh, there you go. Charlie one-upping me on the van. Might have
There
to
you
go.
go.
I might have to go to Amazon because I'm a Prime member. I'll get it tomorrow.
Yeah, but you're not going to get it for $138 on Amazon.
You are very true about that. That is very true. Me and Amazon have had some issues with them shipping things on time. Or one thing that I don't get about Amazon is they list it Prime, and then like when it gets checked out, all of a sudden it's not Prime anymore. And I've had a few discussions with them about it, and they don't seem to think that it's a problem. And I've explained to them twice that I've ordered stuff that way, and
So now Amazon is imitating the lenders and doing subprime shipping.
that is a funny term. I got to call them that way. So, yeah, next time I talk to them about that. And I
Hello,
double-checked.
Amazon. We'd like to chat about your subprime shipping.
We were doing screenshots of the orders just so I could prove to them that it was saying that. Because I ordered a key that all of a sudden didn't get shipped for like 5 days after I ordered it because they said I said let it come for like 2 weeks. And I was like, that makes no sense. I have a Prime membership. Why would I click that button?
Let it come?
No, let it get shipped.
I'm sorry. If you order something from them, it doesn't automatically get shipped. You have to.
You can choose an option.
You can let it get shipped.
You can let it get shipped. Well,
Oh.
no, they have another. In the Prime membership, you get options of shipping.
Do tell.
So you can get it shipped in 2 days. You can get it shipped in 1 day. You might pay $3 to get it shipped the next day versus 2 days and free. Then you have an option to have super snail mail. If you wait for the super snail mail, sometimes they give you money toward another Prime thing, like Prime Books. You'll get $10 in Prime Books if you wait a week and a half to get it shipped to you. And for some odd reason, they say I picked that when I know I didn't. When I order stuff, I need it like next day. So
So they are basically calling you a liar.
basically,
Or they think you're just.
and I spent thousands of dollars with that.
Are you familiar with the word addled? That was a word used back in the day when basically it means retarded.
Oh,
So maybe they think you're addled.
I guess I am.
But we'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Locksmith Show, where I'm going to repeat my presidential endorsement. Harrison Ford would make a good president. He has experience. And Martin Sheen could be a good vice president, I think.
Yeah.
So let's have some write-ins for Harrison Ford and Martin Sheen and anything but Hillary, please.
Well, I'm not a big fan of any of the vote right now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty-
This whole election has me just scared bleepless.
Yeah. Welcome to America.
I didn't even get to shh this time.
No, not at all. Not
yeah,
at
scared
all.
bleepless.
Yeah, no, it's rather scary of who we have to vote for this year. So
I mean, they keep talking about maybe the Republicans could draft Paul Ryan. And I'm like, come on, Jack Ryan.
yeah, Paul Ryan's not I like some of his views, but I'm not Democratic or Republican. I don't really. I vote independent when I vote, so I don't get a vote in any primary. So here in our state, but yeah.
But that doesn't mean you have to vote for the independent person.
No.
That means you can bloody well vote for whoever
well,
you want.
but during a primary, I can't vote.
I understand.
So, but
And I think we ought to have open primaries.
I
to
think we
where-
should too. I
Where
think we
everybody
need to
can
change
vote
the
for
whole
everybody.
voting aspect of how we vote. Get rid of this electoral college and go to a popular vote somehow, and work that out, because they just keep the same people doing the same thing.
Well, and the whole thing about the process, I mean, I don't. Do you understand this whole thing about delegates and super delegates and stupid delegates and,
No, I do know.
why
that
do we
this-
need delegates and electorals when we can just have a popular vote? We have the technology. We can make it better than it was before.
Absolutely. And that's
Oh.
why I hope we can work that out for the next 4 years after this one during the time.
Well, that would require a constitutional convention, and I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
No,
But
because they all like the way it works.
well, and the other part of it is it doesn't really matter anyway, because the whole constitutional system that we have, not enough states ratified the IRS provision of the Constitution, and yet the powers that be, the courts, the judges have all said, oh, well, so what if it didn't get ratified? We need to make money, so let's have an IRS and let them run rampant. And, well, gee, if we don't have to have all the ratifying done, then what's the use in even having the document or the system?
America.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
It's the American way. It's all on skullduggery or
Yeah.
something.
Skullduggery. Wow. Yeah. The Yale.
And I don't know why that word jumped into my mind and corruption didn't.
Wow. I'm going to say very much corrupt. Hopefully we can get some people in office that will start changing things.
Well, we have the finest Congress that money can buy.
That is very true. What other funny locksmith stories pop in your head right now when I ask you, Charlie?
Oh, I don't know. The handcuffs on the teenager in Seattle once upon a time. I don't know.
What happened there?
I got out my Dremel tool and burned his little arm up. Or was it his leg? I forget.
You forget.
I think he had the handcuff on his leg or something. And we were pouring water on it while we were cutting with the Dremel tool. And
Yeah.
those very cheap ones, the $5 ones, those keys break off all the time.
And they get stuck inside of them.
They can.
Yeah. So you cut it off?
Well, I wasn't just going to leave it there.
I don't know if I would have cut it off. I probably would have tried to pop the rivets out. I might have ground the rivets off of it.
Yeah,
I've had to open them before.
something
too.
like that.
I had one locked on a lady once. She was locked to her bed. Both sides were broken.
And
I believe that's the next segment of this radio show.
yeah, that's in the next hour, ladies and
The next
gentlemen.
hour?
Ina.
I know. No, it was a rather funny one that happened one night. I got a phone call and the guy said, "Don't hang up. This has actually happened." And I said, "What? What? Don't hang up. Okay, you got me interested." And then he told me, and I said, "This is a joke." He's like, "It's not a joke." So I said, "Okay, I'm on my way over." I went over there, and sure enough, the lady was locked to her bed, and the key had broke. And I happened to have a handcuff key at that time. I still have a few of them, but happened to be on my key ring, so I stuck mine in there, and it worked just fine. So, but theirs were broken. I have had to take a set off, the cheaper ones like you've seen.
Yeah, with the big fat key.
Yeah, a kid came into the shop one time, and they were just goofing around. So, and got the handcuff stuck on him. They managed to get one of his arms out, but they couldn't get the other one free. So we took a grinder, ground off the rivets, and pried the thing open so that we could release the spring.
Well, if you get just that one rivet on the swing arm, that would seem
Yeah.
like it would be enough.
And that poor lady, I never even saw her. She was buried under blankets and pillows. All I could see was her
Oh.
arm attached to the bed. I was trying not to laugh the whole time. So,
Let me guess, you did not take the GoPro.
oh, this was I'm going to say 10 years ago. It's been at least 10 years. So it was rather interesting.
Well, it's been at least 14 that I've lived here, so Seattle would have been probably 8 or 9 or something before that.
Yeah. I tell you another funny story when I had handcuffs on.
Did it involve Sheriff Joe?
No, it involved the Finest Mesa Police Department. So, got arrested for disorderly conduct when I was going through a separation with my kids' moms. And my handcuff key was attached right next to where I was handcuffed, riding in the police car downtown. And when I got down there, I made it known that my handcuff key was right next to my hand when I was there. So all the other cops started laughing at the cop who arrested me.
Well, there was one time that I ended up, I was sleeping on a table outside of a burger place waiting for the Greyhound bus to come.
Yes.
Well, apparently the Greyhound bus came and gone without bothering to wake me up. And so I ended up sitting down in the Pismo Beach Police Department because of some marijuana. And they had me chained to a wall with a handcuff. And I'm like, guys, you do realize I've got a handcuff key right here on my key ring, right? And he said, yeah, we saw that. We didn't figure you were going to try to run off. And you probably couldn't have got out of the building anyway. So, well,
No,
all right.
they
then.
had no idea that I had it. We were riding in the cop car all the way back. I could have took it off the whole time.
So they were
So.
singing that one song that you don't like me to play.
Yes. So, and I just said, hey, guys, next time you might want to make sure the person that you're arresting doesn't have a handcuff key sitting next to their hand when they're behind their back, sitting in a car riding with you. And two of them started laughing. And the other one just looked down at the ground and kind of shook his head a little bit. So, But I did get arrested for something stupid, and they dropped the charges on me. I called her the B word like 3 times and got arrested for that because I refused to leave my house, basically.
Well, but that ultimately got dropped.
Yeah.
See, and this is one thing that I have to wonder about for the state of Arizona. I had a friend that had a disorderly charge among some other stuff. And when I went over to the law library over there at ASU, and I looked up every instance that I could find about case law on disorderly conduct. I want to say 95% of the cases that I researched involved juveniles.
Yes.
And it was ruled repeatedly that a child throwing or kicking a wastebasket around a classroom and using the F word repeatedly was not disorderly conduct. Well, all right, then what is?
Well, the reason I got arrested, what I knew why I got arrested after I went to court and talked to my attorney, because I was going to get an attorney on this one because I thought it was stupid. So basically they arrested me in Arizona. And I don't know if it still does. This was, again, 11 years ago is when this happened, when I split up with their mom. But I got arrested because of, at the time, they were arresting people for domestic violence. When there was 2 people in the house, one person was generally getting arrested. So there was some other stuff that happened, but since that happened, that's what I got arrested on, was disorderly conduct for calling her the B word. So they took me out of the house more because I didn't refuse to leave my house, is why they arrested me more than anything. So to get one person out of the way. So next time I learned, if I told me to leave, I will leave so I don't get arrested.
Now, was there anything going on that either of you could have been charged with domestic violence? Any marks on anybody?
No, there was no marks. There was some throwing of stuff, but not.
Yeah, so...
Needless to say, we split up after that because I didn't want to get arrested again.
So then the question still remains, and we'll possibly address next week. What in the world does disorderly conduct consist of in Arizona? Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great 4th of July weekend, and happy
Be
birthday,
safe.
America.
Yes.
If you like my YouTube channel, please subscribe below. It's over here. I don't know. It's somewhere, anywhere. It's wherever they like to put it. I don't know. But thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe. Tell your friends. Share my videos. If you have any questions, email me, andrewslockandkeyaz@gmail.com, or don't hesitate to pick up the phone. I answer my phone all the time. 480-437-4022. Thank you, and have a great day.